students, today we are going to discuss a new topic, a static function inside a class. Now let us come back to the very basic examples of a class and an integer main function. As we always said, these two are totally separate and they can only talk each other through the member functions or public or variables, public variables defined inside the public section of the class. Now let us purposefully design a new type of function which is called a static function. So normally we usually define here a function like void display or something like that, and we used to write whatever we write, we used to get here, let's say it is a student class, then if I say student S, then I could call S dot display here. This was pretty easy. Now we are going to discuss a new type of function which is called static function. Static function means which can be called even from whatever you write inside the class. They can be even called without creating the object from the main also. That is what we are going to discuss. So let's say I am now creating a function inside the public part that is called, let's say I call this purposefully static void, I call this static call, and this is a function which I have defined. So inside this I can say cout you are inside static call, something like that you write. Now let's say, how do you call this function without creating? You don't need to create an object of the student to call this. You can simply call this by student colon colon. You can say static call. You can simply call this. It will display whatever is written here. That will display. You don't need to create any object at all like earlier. You used to create an object and then call. So the other thing with the static calls is there is another way of calling the static call. A little more complicated way, but I would like to teach that. Creating a pointer. Through a pointer also you can call this. The same thing, whatever you have done, in a different way you are going to call. That is like you can create, since it's a void type, I can always say that I can create a pointer. I will call it star ptr of void type. And all these syntaxes you have to remember. This is equal to address of student colon colon, there is no space here, I write here static col. You don't have to put the brackets here, you don't need at all, because the static code whatever is there, this much word only is sufficient. And the pointer to this is assigned to this pointer. Now we can call this by star ptr then simply like this. So this is a second way of calling a static function from within the main without creating an object. This is the first time we are calling a function which is written in public without creating. This is the first method, simply call. Second method is this. This is the second method. Second method is create a pointer of the type void, because it is void, and you are assigning ampersand student colon static call. That means this is pointing to this particular, this pointer is going to be pointing to this particular static call. After that you can simply call star ptr, then the function sign. So both the results will be same. Practically now let's see how this can be tested. Now coming back, again you open a C++ compiler. This is a Borderland C++ compiler, and I am opening free compiler dvc++, and I have, let's say, opened a new thing like earlier, so that I, instead of writing down, instead of wasting time, see, I am again recreating the program. This is like, these two lines are required in any C++ program, and after that I am creating a class student. This much you are very familiar, that you have a class student and you have a private variable, anything like that, and then you are going to have the public part. Now is like you have written the public part of this. The public part of it you are written. After that you are just done with the class part. Actually this much only is required for the class. The class is done, so end of the class. So you can see that it is a symbol, a static call you have made, that's all. Now the main, what I am going to do is I am going to create a main program in which first I am just going to call, let's say I am going to call just by this static call. So let us execute this. So you executed. After executing, let's say what kind of error it is giving. Okay, is giving some error, so that is because of the compiler here, nothing to do with the. So you create a new source file and I cut and paste the same code, and I just executing that actually. Let's see. So it said calling statically or globally or anytime. So whatever is written below the dotted lines, that is something to do with this compiler. You can ignore that. So you have just call this function by this. Another way of calling, that is what I was discussing with you sometime before, that you can create a pointer like this, class pointer. The line is void class pointer. I am just assigning the initial part of that call here, and here I put a command. This is how a function inside static call is called, something like that. Now I can simply call this by this method. I have to simply call the function. This is the second method. This was the first method. these two combined two lines will make a second method of calling a static function. You can see that both are looking same, so in both the methods you can call this. Okay then, see you in the next video. Thank you.